Well, I just put a swing arm bag on the 91 Sportsters, the stock 883, which I plan to leave as an 883 unless I must change it for some reason. The bag went on there not too terribly difficult. You got to take this little plate off, and you notice I kind of got it in there nice and tight, whereby sometimes they tell you on these swing arm bags you don't have use of your rear peg. Well, you do. I mean, if you want to put your foot on there, it'll fit, okay? So, you could do it. So, that's one thing they tell you sometimes when they sell you the swing arm. Well, maybe some of them don't have room for it because it depends on the size. This one was from Dream, D-R-E-A-M, probably Chinese. I guarantee it's Chinese. It looks like it's pretty decent quality leather and stuff. It's well, wait a minute, it's PU, it's not leather. It's sometimes that vinyl stuff actually holds up. I don't like vinyl so much when it gets near the exhaust, but since it's not near the exhaust, I don't think it's going to have a problem. It has some leather straps, 3 leather straps, one in each of the 3 corners, and I put it around where the shock is to bring it further up this way. Somebody going by. So that the peg, you got used to the rear peg. It also has rope or like paracord through a separate place where it attaches to, other than where the leather strap is attached to, as like a safety measure. Plus it's got a hard plastic back, which you can't see very well, but it's a hard plastic back. It's not cardboard. It's got buckles, so cross these together, opens up, and it's got a flaps in there with a snap. So it's, under normal conditions your stuff in there would stay fairly dry. You might want to put a tiny little 1/8 inch hole in the bottom in case it does get wet, because it'll fill up, and that bag is like, it's PU, it's plastic, it's a vinyl. So I'm not sure about the quality of the vinyl. It might be okay. But I just saw the price was under 40 bucks. It looks like the exact same thing as the William Max. Now, William Max is made by, it's made in the USA. Dowco, that's who it was. Dowco, the ones that make like the bike covers and stuff. I remember getting bike cover that was like the blue and silver, and it didn't last long. It looked just like a Dowco. And I got a Dowco, it lasts a lot longer. So it's difficult to say how long this thing's gonna last. Like this bag will last. But now I got the tool bag in the back. I swapped the tool bag that was on the back of this, and I put it up there. And what that does is it allows me, this thing fits in there perfect, which is extra fuel. Now, I got 2 things coming for these bikes. One coming for this one, and one coming for this one. I got the 3.8 gallon gas tank, which I want to put on here obviously next few weeks on first test to make sure everything fits fine. It should. I think it's maybe about that wide and that high. I should clear these handlebars, no problem. That's why I raised them up a little more. So 3.8 gallons with an 883, plus having a, an extra bottle even. I mean, that's 0.4, so that'd be 4.2 gallons. That's, an 883 gets like a lot of times over 50 miles to the gallon, so you got pretty good range. Not as good as a big touring bike, but still pretty good. This bike, I did just order. I had them like saved in my Amazon thing. They're Milwaukee leather. They're not leather though. These are leather, but these are about 35 years old now. They're still okay. I had to repair the leather here. I put a strip in here, sewed it up, and I actually had to sew in the whole bottom because there was a fire when the plastic thing on the CV car broke. Fuel came down here, caught on fire, burnt the bottom of the bag. I repaired it. It's been like that. It's been repaired from years ago, so the repairs are still working fine. These bags, I got them stuffed pretty good, and especially this one. Usually if I got to put something in it, I got to put it in the other bag or put something on top of this. So I got these bags that are going to come up to about here and out to there, and they're supposed to fit over the turn signals, and I got the supports in the back. They're 20 inches this way, 25 diagonal, 13 up and down, and I think 7 they'll go out to here. So this thing will kind of look like a Sportster a mini Sportster bagger or something, but it's not going to really add any weight to it or nothing, and it's not going to affect anything. The bottom of the bag I got coming is supposed to resist the heat from the exhaust. I consider the exhaust are pretty low. You know what I could do though? You see, that's why I didn't want to put them on here, because the real leather resists heat way better than this plastic leather. Supposedly got some kind of stuff on it that resists the heat better, but if you actually had a problem, you can always sew in that real piece of leather on top of that on the outside. You know, you don't need to have it stitched all the way around. Like you could do a stitch every few inches just so you got something that shields it as a heat. But it's supposed to be 13 inches, so it's going to be about that much over the exhaust. And you know, I'll be able to tie it to these support brackets here, which I don't even have these tied to the support brackets much, a little bit, like up here. And so what can happen is I'll have these bags on the side, so if I ever need more storage capacity, I can put them on that. But I don't think I want to do that, because this is like my backup bike. Theoretically, it might be my main bike if some problem goes wrong with this. Now, yesterday I took this out for a ride. Well, it was 195 miles round trip. It was a pretty good ride, you know. And you know, I always kind of leak a little oil, and I was kind of curious how much oil I would leak after, because I know what I leak about after 100 miles. It's not much. So I leaked about 4 ounces of engine oil and about 2 ounces of transmission. So that's, you know, in other words, I can go, that's in 200 miles. So I mean, if I went like 500 miles, I might use a quarter of a quart. You know, I figure a third of a quart max. The transmission would still be, you know, down maybe, you know, 4 ounces out of, what does it take? Like, I think 24 ounces. It would still be plenty of fluid in it where it's not going to do any harm. It wouldn't be like where it needs to be added, you know. Plus I carry oil with me anyway, and the tools to open up that transmission plug and stuff on the outside with this. These are old ass bikes now, man. It's just freaking weird, which means I'm old, right? And the theory behind getting the Sportster is like, I'm close to 69. I'm very close to 69 years old. So in 10 years, I'll be, you know, about 79, close to 80, right? If I got these bikes 10 years and I'm riding them when I'm like 79, 80 years old, I'd be better off on a Sportster, right? And if, say, I'm 85, say I'm 90. So the thing is, I'd also be more used to these bikes. So this one I got to get more used to. This one, and even though it's same bike as this one, and even though I adjusted the, you know, I rebled the brakes, flushed out the fluid so the brakes are nice and high up, adjusted the clutch, the handlebars are more similar, it's still different than this one. And I got to get used to it. That's the thing. So I got to keep riding it. I'll probably ride it out tomorrow. I'll take it out tomorrow and ride it. See, anyway. So that's a wrap. This, I'll point to a link where I got this. Nobody reviewed these. I'm probably going to review it on Amazon. This thing, this little. It's only for like, it's for like Sportsters and like Dynas. It's not for you know, Softails. It's like for Sportsters and Dynas, dual shock bikes, and a lot of other bikes. But I think it was under $40, and it's got pretty good room in it. So I'm gonna probably put some tools in it or something. So between these 3 little bags, like these are actually, it's a swing arm bag and 2 good sized tool bags. And you know, if worst comes to worst, I can always put the big backpack thing on the back here, which goes around the tail lights and stuff. I mean, the brake lights, or what do you call it, turn signal lights. And I can always put that on this one too. But you know, it's for most of the time I can get away with this, and I'm happy with that. So like I'm kind of going, you know, I'm not one of these guys that try, you know, because you can spend I'm already spending a ton of money on these bikes, but I thought instead of throwing a lot of money into this one, and you're still not going to make it 100% like foolproof. Like I was thinking about putting all Andrew's gears in it, Andrew's main shaft, the zippers, trap door, and stuff in the transmission, and make sure that's all really super bulletproof. Which is, you know, when you're just riding around, you're probably not going to have a problem with any of that stuff, right? But for the price of that, you know, that would have been a good $2,000. So I got, for $2,000, I got this whole motorcycle. Now, when I started adding up, I don't know, it was like, I don't know what the kickstand was, 60 bucks, 50 bucks, 50 bucks for those caps on the top of the forks, probably 60 bucks for the handlebar. I didn't get no crazy freaking price one. The risers I already had this, the other sissy, I had that sissy bar, and I had the side plates, so that was a free, you know, I didn't have to spend money on that. I think it was 10 bucks worth of bolts I had to buy for like putting the risers on. And I had to put a horn on it. That was 10 bucks. What I mean, oh, the windshield. Yeah, the windshield was like, I think, over 100. So right there, you got a few $100, and or maybe 350. So maybe that's, you know, it's still like under 20. Like, well, it's $2,000. You got to pay. You got to pay registration. You got to pay. You know, the insurance difference wasn't much, but it's registered at 2026 now, and you got to pay sales tax. That's the other thing. So that was a few $100 or whatever that was. $210 for sales tax. So it's like not $2,000. You always got to figure that stuff in. So it's like a lot of money, you know, when it starts adding up. Now the gas tank, that was $300. So that's where I'm getting more money into it. But you really need it. One of the first things I got on that bike was that the gas tank. When I got it back in 90. When it was in 89, I got it back in 90. The bike was like 6 months old, and I got a gas tank for it. Because I hated this peanut. I mean, I like the look of it, but the one I'm getting is, it looks like a peanut tank with a little insert, and it's 3.8 gallons, just as big as that one. That's called like an Axe or a Mustang. I'm not sure which one. When they sold it to me, they called it a Mustang, but it's probably really, to correct terminology, probably would be Axe. The Axe is more like porky looking. It's higher and rounder and stuff. But anyway, now, so the gas tank's $300. I can reuse the petcock. I can reuse the cap, which that's cool because it's a single cap. It's a screw-in cap, and it's supposed to fit. That could be a problem. It might not. You know, it might not. It might have clearance issues with the carburetor, because down here you see this? You got like a ½ an inch down here, right? If they made the tank a little lower, then I'd have to make some kind of brackets to raise it up just a hair so I could clear the petcock, maybe. But if I don't have to do that, there's still the cost involved in the new gas tank. Is you got to, well, you don't have to do this, but I have done that on that gas tank back in 1990 when I put it on. It's in 89. I put the Cream, K-R-E-E-M, and it's been on there 35 years, and it kept the gas tank from getting any rust in it. Because I don't have a fuel filter. I just got the screen on a petcock. So that's like, the kit was on sale for like $40-something, $44. Okay, so now you're up to almost $350, right? And paint. Now that's gonna be, I know what the original color code is on this paint, but nobody sells it. And you know, you can go to places to try to match it. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna order some paint that looks like the same and see how it comes out. What I'm gonna do is match the color as best I can on the gas tank, on the main part, and if it's a little lighter, a little darker, depending on which, I'll make the shade. So just say this gas tank color, when I put the new one on there, it's a little lighter or something, I'll make the insert a two-tone where it's a little darker. This way, when your eye looks like at it, it's going to look like a good match. You're not going to notice that it doesn't match. You know, if you just made it one solid color, it would definitely look like it was off. If it was off a little bit, but so if it's off a little bit, the main part of the gas tank, if it's just a hair lighter, you make the insert, like there's an insert in here, like it's like design, which looks cool. and I'll make that a little darker. So this way, you know, when you look at it, it's gonna look good enough. I mean, it's not gonna be like show bike garbage, but it'll look very presentable. So I have to take my time with that garbage. So anyway, good bag. A lot more room to stuff. So that's just pretty. I'm looking at the size of this bag, and I'm looking at the size of that bag. This bag is about, I'd say it's about 1/3 of that, or maybe more, maybe 40%. This bag might be about 40% of, like, say, one 16-inch saddlebag, one side. So it's a lot more than a tool bag, even the bigger tool bags. Even this one, it's more than that. So the beauty is you don't need to get these supports back here like I got on there. See that support for the saddlebag? It's like the bags itself are cheaper. This, you know, a swing arm bag is cheaper, and you don't need to get the support for it. So, and then, you know, it's a lot less work to put in too, even though it takes some work. You see this? See, that's the, I mean, I don't know, maybe I can move this around a little bit different. You know, no, that's good. That's good. See, it's on here with a strap, and it's on here with this cord. So I don't think it's going to go anywhere. Well, I think if I got a problem with those leather straps after a while, I'm going to get the real heavy duty zip ties, the ones that are like really thick, really wide. I was going to do that initially, but I said, nah, this looks pretty good. These leather straps look pretty good. And they're not going to, it's going to take years for them to get all messed up. So, you know, who knows? But I think with this bigger gas tank going on this thing, and, you know, even with, if I say I got the 3.8 gallon gas tank on there and I got that thing in the front, you know, let's say you could definitely go safely 3.5 gallon gas, and I'd say on average this bike's going to get about 50. So that's a 175 mile range. That's pretty good. Usually if you're on a bike that long, you don't want to sit on it that long. You have to pee or something, you know. So anyway, that's just an update. I'm trying to put it, you know, I'm throwing out any video. The only reason I'm putting these videos out is because it's stuff I'm doing. And I figure it's just, I'm not trying to make money or get views or anything like that. I'm just really putting them out to, you know, for your information. Because when I'm doing stuff, I'm trying to be practical about it. I'm not trying to be a showy person, or, you know, like one of these people like, you know, Pimp My Ride or something. You know, it's just so phony. It's all bullcrap. People that got gazillions of dollars, they're always putting all this money in their bikes. And then, to me, this is a lot of money. This is all adding up. But I'm looking for the best deals and the most practicality in what you can actually use. I definitely, you know, if this tank, if this, like the 97 and up Sportsters, they all come with a 3.1 gallon gas tank. That I think is acceptable. And also, because I'm gonna do a gas tank video. A couple of them actually want to get the gas tank in. It's from Twisted Choppers, which I think I think they got. I don't think I have any clearance issues. I think I'm getting it from a place that sells stuff to motorcycle. It's a motorcycle place. It's not, you know, Amazon or some eBay or some stupid garbage. So, you know, if they're selling something, it's going to work. You know, I don't think it's going to be a problem. I'll explain that later. But if you get the cheaper way, and this is going to be said in the other video too, if you get the 3.8 gallon gas tank, I think it's a good deal. But it's $300, right? You can get 3.1 gallon or 3.2 gallon around here, just a little over 3 gallon King Sporty tanks for like $115, $120. I mean, if you really, but you still got to paint them, you still got to change them, you got to cream coat them and all this other garbage. So, you know, I figured I regret not going to the 3.8 gallons because, you know, it's another $180 around here. But that 3.8 gallon tank has been on there for almost 35 years. So, you know what I mean? You know how many times I'm glad I have a 3.8 gallon tank on my Sportster? Many times, you know? So that's what I'm getting. And it's not something you just bolt on there like bags or something or some other garbage. It's like, It's not like a major deal, but it's kind of a pain in the butt. It's not. Even putting this little stupid bag on here, this was kind of a pain in the butt. Getting the straps on and stuff. You got to take this plate off, and you got to make clearance between the plastic fender and this frame here. And I use like a screwdriver wrapped up in some cloth, and I use a rubber mallet to kind of move the inner fender the plastic inner fender a little away from that frame, so I could loop it around there a couple times. It was still a pain. So let me just say that, you know, sometimes things go faster than you think, sometimes they don't. So, you know, but, you know, I feel like, you know, I want to get out to doing a lot more riding with some kind of people that are more like what you call the quote-unquote brotherhood stuff, garbage. You know, stand-up people. Usually people in the military are the ones that are more stand-up-ish. People that weren't ever in the military, usually they're posers to the max. So they really are. I mean, people wear titles and they think they're some kind of gods and blah blah blah. And I mean, just because you got a title, you know, they want to act it, but they don't want to do it. Yeah, if you ever noticed, even like the guys in the military, some of the best leaders, they didn't act like they're pulling rank on you all the time. They're just kind of the best leaders actually in the military, are the ones that actually work with the people. You know, the best. They were kind of like they were one of the team all the way. So I want to get in a situation like that, and this is probably the cheapest way for me to do this, because I know some people want to say this isn't a big enough bike, but I don't know. There's a lot of even 1% clubs have bikes that, you know, some of the guys got Sportsters. You know, not everybody has a, you know, a giant ass bike. Personally, I think the Dyna is probably your best all-around bike. I think most people agree with that. But I think your second best all-around bike is a Sportster for now, not for long-range touring, but still you can kind of do it. But just for all-purpose use, you know. Yeah. In some ways, the Sportster is better than the Dyna. In some ways, I mean, you don't have to worry about the twin cam garbage problems and stuff. You know, I don't know. 6 of one, half dozen another. But the logistics on this is pretty good, because even though this one here is a 5-speed and this is a 4-speed, this one they're only 2 years apart. So a lot of stuff is the same, and I'm pretty familiar with this bike. And so that makes me kind of decent familiar with this one too. So coming along good. Once that gas tank's on it, I'm going to say this bike is done. And once these bags are on this thing, which aren't a vital necessity, but can be coming in very handy if I'm doing a lot more longer trips, I'm going to say that this bike is done. And it will be done, because unless, you know, maintenance or something breaks. But because when I got this bike, the first couple years I started doing all this junk to it, and then it was the same for like decades. You know, and that's kind of how, you know, this bike, if this turns out to be my main bike, there'll probably be saddlebags on it. You know, but don't anticipate that right now.